News. The best in AI-generated podcasts. Let's quack, 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 quack.
Well, hello, tech aficionados and digital jesters. I'm Dave Harrison, also known as the Bite Slinger, coming at you live from the deep dish capital, Chicago. And with me today, as always, is the queen of the quips and knowledge herself, Julie Chapman. How's the weather in foggy London town, Julie?
Quite pleasant, actually, David. But let's not digress into meteorology. Our listeners came for Quacker News, the podcast where we discuss today's hacker news. Today is 2024-07-19, Friday, and we've got an assortment of stories that will either make you laugh or make you question reality. Shall we dive in?
Absolutely. First on the docket, we have my daughter, 7 years old, used HTML to make a website, naya.lol.
Ah, yes, a heartwarming tale of digital innocence. A child clicking together a few HTML tags to create a website. It's like watching a young Picasso, except more HTML-y.
You know, it's great to see kids getting into tech at an early age. I have 3 kids, and let me tell you, the only coding they're willing to do is inputting cheat codes in video games. But it's nostalgic to see the community getting all misty-eyed over HTML like it's the new Shakespeare.
Yes, commenters are waxing lyrical about the good old days of software dev. Alan J. Perlis's spirit seems to be haunting Hacker News with visions of keeping fun in computing. I wonder what he'd say about Twitter threads, reminiscing about simpler times when owning a domain made you the neighborhood wizard.
Probably something poetic and slightly sarcastic. It does make one wonder if we've lost the fun in tech. But speaking of fun, here's a genius idea. Type in Morse code by repeatedly slamming your laptop shut.
Sublime. Nothing spells productivity like abusing your hardware. This delightful GitHub project lets you enter Morse code by slamming your laptop lid. Truly, we've reached peak innovation.
Ah, yes. Morse code through laptop abuse. Finally, a way to communicate that's both incomprehensible and bound to get you on the tech support blacklist.
It reminds me of the days when people would chuck their phones to see how high they could get them, only with a veneer of plausibility that screams postmodern decadence.
And what's next? Slapping your smartphone to send a text. Honestly, if this catches on, we'll have more broken gadgets than ever before. At least it's providing some comic relief in these high-tech times.
Speaking of old tech making a comeback, our next topic, Ask HN, what's Prolog like in 2024?
Ah, Prolog, the programming language that refuses to go quietly. Think of it as the rotary phone of AI.
Indeed. Hacker News is alight with Prolog enthusiasts discussing its modern applications and integration with Python. One can almost feel the collective sigh of nostalgia.
Right, it's like seeing someone trying to revive disco. It might have had its moment, and props to the people still passionate about it, but Prolog, really?
Well, it's all part of the cyclical nature of tech. What's old is new again. It's like fashion, but with more lines of code.
Onward to not-so-great news for our privacy advocates. Another highlight. USPS shared customer postal addresses with Meta, LinkedIn, and Snap.
Ah, privacy. That quaint notion from a bygone era. The US Postal Service, in a dazzling display of security prowess, allowed tracking pixels to scoop up customer data.
Yep, you read that right, folks. The USPS, the organization that delivers birthday cards late, was unwittingly sharing your address like it's handing out flyers at a county fair.
Commenters are torn between outrage and resignation. It's a privacy mess, but at least we're comforted by the knowledge that it wasn't intentional. Just a wee slip-up with giant implications.
This makes me wonder, why was the USPS so cozy with these ad behemoths to begin with? Is it some sort of prank on the American people?
Perhaps. Or they got a bit too eager with analytics and forgot about the safeguarding part. One can only hope they've learned their lesson.
Now here's something every sysadmin can rejoice over. DevZat, chat over SSH, with some nice quality of life features.
Because apparently IRC and Slack aren't challenging enough. Let's throw in SSH-based chat to weed out the faint-hearted.
Ah, yes, because everyone wants to chat in a terminal window while giving off the aura of a cybersecurity specialist.
Integrated Slack bridge, though, quite the testament to something. Maybe just the extreme lengths some will go to avoid shiny, user-friendly interfaces.
True, it's niche, but intriguing. What's next? Smoke signals over SQLite.
And for the nostalgia trip of the day, The Objects of Our Life, 1983.
Oh, a rare gem from Steve Jobs' talk at the International Design Conference in Aspen. Before launching the Mac, he saw the future of personal computing.
Indeed, Jobs at his prophetic best. The commenters are practically deifying him, reminiscing about when design actually mattered.
I love how they contrast it with today's barrage of notifications and ads. It's fascinating to see how far we've strayed from that vision.
Yes, nothing like a bit of nostalgia to highlight how every app now has a please turn off ad blocker pop-up.
Sigh, simpler times. Anyway, onward we go.
For the debugging aficionados, we have hash-based bisect debugging in compilers and runtimes.
Ah, debugging with the magic wand of binary search. Sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Commenters dive headlong into Bayesian inference and bisecting data. It's quite the academic circus.
Honestly, I think they enjoy making simple concepts sound more complex than solving a Rubik's Cube while blindfolded.
Fair point, but it's a nice reminder that debugging can indeed be a delightful magic trick.
Next up, a grand idea. If you've been wondering how to recreate a historic tech institution, what would it take to recreate Bell Labs?
Some believe all it takes is a bit of funding and a lot of wishful thinking. It's a delicate mix of nostalgia and underestimation.
I mean, Bell Labs was a petri dish of innovation. Today's bean counters might balk at the freewheeling spending.
Yes, commenters reminisce about Bell Labs' golden age and the modern equivalent's lack of soul. It's like hoping the next Jurassic Park will be a petting zoo.
Here's one for the visual techies: polychromatic pixels.
Interesting advancements in pixel density, with the promise of producing near-perfect colors.
Yet, there's a catch. Apparently, no magenta. And our tech savants in the comments are having a field day debating the nuances of color space.
It's a rabbit hole indeed. Like reading a dissertation when you just want to know if those pixels can display a decent photo.
We can only hope they crack the magenta code soon.
And now an adventurous detour. The only tourist in Moldova.
Ah, Moldova, the Zone Z of European travel, where even the goats have a zoning designation.
It's a curious piece about one of Europe's least visited countries, apparently replete with horses and carts and interesting vodka.
Yeah, the debate on whether pine needle vodka qualifies as real vodka is more heated than the actual travelogue. Moldova, you might be the hidden gem we all need.
Next, a practical innovation. Transcribro, on-device accurate speech-to-text.
Private on-device speech recognition for Android using Whisper.cpp and Celero VAD. It's like Siri, but with an actual respect for your privacy.
Commenters are excited, though not without the usual gripes about punctuation and the eternal search for an iOS equivalent.
It's fascinating how tech can keep evolving to prioritize privacy. Although knowing my luck, my kids would use it to dictate their homework and then blame AI for errors.
And now our favorite space updates. Double trouble. ESA's Gaia hit by micrometeoroid and solar storm.
Poor Gaia, playing cosmic dodgeball and losing. Struck by space dust and zapped by solar storms. It's no stroll in the cosmic park.
Armchair astronomers are in full swing, speculating wildly about the effects and repairs needed. Gaia's mission is daunting, and now it's an interstellar wounded soldier.
Space truly is hard, and Gaia's survival is a testament to human ingenuity and resilience.
Wrapping up, we have Spreadsheet LLM, encoding spreadsheets for large language models.
Ah, the future of spreadsheets. Inference-driven, LLM-enabled autofill fantasy land.
Commenters range from bemused to bewildered. LLM in spreadsheets promising to make lives easier, though it seems like a recipe for over-engineered chaos.
It's like giving your Excel a PhD. Simplicity is out the window, but hey, it's the future.
And that wraps up another roller coaster of a day on Hacker News.
Before we go, Julie, got any interesting trivia to share?
Certainly. Did you know the first gigabyte hard drive weighed over 500 pounds and cost about $40,000?
Whoa, glad my phone can store thousands of photos without requiring a crane. As for a joke, why did the mobile phone wear glasses? Because it lost its contacts.
Clever as always, David. And what are your plans after the podcast?
Oh, I'm taking the kids to a Jell-O festival. It's going to be a wobbly good time. How about you, Julie?
I plan to read War and Peace once more. It's good for the mind, they say.
Well, you enjoy that, Julie. Until next time, folks, keep your bites bright and your screens shiny.
Indeed, goodbye, everyone.